Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain Ip Man the Awakening Master. This movie tells the story of a man who gets involved in a British company kidnapping Chinese women to be trafficked overseas. He steps out and fights the British patent warriors thrice and uses Wing Chun to defend the dignity of the trampled Chinese. Can a man win against the mafia? Let's find out in Ip Man the Awakening Master. Ip Man the Awakening Master begins in 1915 in Myanmar. Stark Industries, originally from England, engages in human trafficking, where they sell Chinese women to bandits in Myanmar. However, some of the women died on the way. Feeling aggrieved, the bandits asked Shidake, a man who was a representative of Stark Industries, to give the women away for free. However, Shidake is not a random person. He had very skilled bodyguards in martial arts that easily defeated the bandits. The scene then switches and shows the festive atmosphere on the streets of Hong Kong, where a young man named Yuen is rejoicing after school because the year-end holiday season has arrived. While pedaling his bicycle, Yuen saw a robbery on a tram. Without thinking, he immediately boarded the tram to thwart the theft. At first, the delinquents underestimated Yuen because he was alone. Yuen wasn't afraid at all and fought the robbers with his Wing Chun martial arts skills that he was very good at. Due to the commotion, the passengers rushed off the tram, making it easier for Yuen to deal with the delinquents. Yuen was finally able to defeat the robber. When they were about to escape, a young man named Ah Feng stopped the robbers and taught them a lesson for trying to rob his mother and his younger sister. Yuen apparently recognized Ah Feng as his old friend when they lived in Foshan. As a form of gratitude, Ah Feng then treated Yuen to dinner while reminiscing about their time together when they were still living in Foshan. Ah Feng then asked Yuen to come to his house and stay a few days before returning to his hometown. Ah Feng also said that he has a rickshaw rental business in Hong Kong and several subordinates help him. Yuen didn't waste his old friend's offer and decided to stay at Ah Feng's house for a while. Arriving at Ah Feng's residence, Yuen became acquainted with Ah Feng's younger sister, Xiu Chen. The girl looked shy when she met Yuen and took him to his room to rest. The next day, Xiu Chen, who felt guilty because Yuen's school bag was damaged after he saved her and her mother from a robbery, decided to buy a new bag. When Xiu Chen was looking at a bag on display in the shop, she was approached by two men who offered her the opportunity to become an artist while giving her a business card. Not long after, Yuen came over to Xiu Chen, and the two men hurriedly left. Ah Feng then came over to Yuen and his sister while raving about an actress who was his idol. In the evening, Yuen helps Ah Feng pull the rickshaw, and the two of them find a passenger who turns out to be the head of a leading newspaper company in Hong Kong, a woman named Shi Hua, and one of the cameramen. Arriving at their destination, Shi Hua gave her business card to Yuen. When he was about to go home, Yuen accidentally saw several women who were forcibly brought to the dock. However, Ah Feng asks Yuen not to interfere because the people at the docks work for Stark Industries, which has enormous influence in Hong Kong. Yet Yuen persisted in rescuing the kidnapped women. He then barged in there and found more women being held captive. He asked the thugs to release the women they kidnapped, but the thugs flatly refused his request and attacked him. A fight between Yuen and the thugs was inevitable. Ah Feng then comes and tries to help Yuen by telling the thugs that Yuen is police detective Liu's son. Ah Feng hopes that the thugs will believe his words, then let go of the women and not prolong the problem with Yuen. Yuen then ordered all the kidnapped women to leave the place immediately. Unexpectedly, Detective Liu appears and it turns out that he is the mastermind behind the kidnapping of women in Hong Kong, making Ah Feng and Yuen very surprised that the police force they consider to be the protectors of society has become criminals. Detective Liu then ordered his men to kill Ah Feng and Yuen. Finally, Ah Feng was forced to help Yuen face all Detective Liu's men. In battle, Yuen demonstrated his powerful Wing Chun martial arts skills to repulse Detective Liu's men with a single strike. In the end, they managed to defeat them all and escape from there. When they are in a safe place, Ah Feng tells Yuen that their actions will definitely have a big impact on their lives in the future because he is sure that Detective Liu will not just let them go. Hearing his best friend's concern, Yuen then promised that he would be responsible for everything he had done, which might make Ah Feng difficult. Arriving at Ah Feng's residence, Yuen was immediately greeted by Xiu Chen and her friends to celebrate the new year together. Not only that, apparently Xiu Chen had prepared a gift for Yuen, namely wooden dummy pads that he could use to practice Wing Chun. Ah Feng and his friends then asked Yuen to teach them Wing Chun martial arts. Over time, they finally began to master Wing Chun and became closer to each other. Elsewhere, Shidake is meeting with the Hong Kong police chief and his members. It turned out that the Hong Kong police had conspired with Shidake, where they had been turning a blind eye to all the kidnappings of women who were masterminded by Shidake in exchange for some money. Hong Kong police later warned Shidake that he was too brutal to carry out the kidnapping, even during the day, which made it difficult for the police. The chief of police then threatened him and demanded more money, but Shirake then stabbed the chief of police in hand and ordered the police to work harder to protect his business. The next day, Yuen took the time to return to Foshan and meet his teacher, who is a master masseur. While helping the teacher massage a customer, Yuen was taught a new Wing Chun martial art technique. Detective Liu and his men came to Ah Feng's residence for revenge a few days later. He then beat Ah Feng mercilessly, while on the other hand, Ah Feng's mother begged them to stop beating her son. Not long after, Yuen, who had just returned from Foshan, tried to stop them. However, Detective Liu has already ordered to attack Ah Feng and his friends. In this battle, Yuen faced Ba Dun, a black man who mastered the martial art of Bartitsu, a mixed martial art method that initially developed in England, combining elements of boxing, jiu-jitsu, cane fighting, and French kickboxing. Although Yuen was a bit overwhelmed against Ba Dun, he finally beat him. Meanwhile, Ah Feng and his friends tried to fight Detective Liu's men, who numbered more than them, until in the end one of Ah Feng's friends was seriously injured. Seeing that his house had been destroyed and his friends injured, Ah Feng blamed Yuen because his principles of upholding justice had brought havoc to him. It didn't stop there. One of Ah Feng's friends then told him that Detective Liu kidnapped Xiu Chan while fighting. Unbeknownst to them, it turned out that there was a man taking pictures of the fight between Yuen and Ba Dun. The man was a reporter who worked for Shi Hua's newspaper company, who immediately made Yuen's fight and victory the headlines. Hence, news of Yuen's victory against a fighter from the West spread throughout the country. Hearing the news that Ba Dun, a Bartitsu martial arts expert from England, had been defeated by Yuen, Shirake became very angry because he felt his pride as an Englishman had been trampled on. Knowing that Xiu Chan's kidnapping mastermind was Shirake, Yuen and Ah Feng went to him at his headquarters. Their presence was immediately greeted by Shirake and his flagship Bartitsu fighter named Peyton. Ah Feng then asked Shirake to release his sister. However, Shirake instead thrust a gun at Ah Feng and asked him to kill Yuen. Only then would he free Xiu Chan. Ah Feng grabs the gun and intends to shoot Peyton, but Peyton manages to stop him and repulse him. When Peyton and Yuen were about to fight, Shirake then stopped them and said that he would have an open fight between Yuen and Peyton, which would be witnessed by many people. If Yuen won the fight, then Xiu Chan would be released. The next day, unbeknownst to Yuen, Ah Feng goes to Shirake to negotiate for him to be willing to release Xiu Nai no matter what. Shirake then offers Ah Feng a deal, in which he orders him to poison Yuen before the match so that he loses and the reputation of England's Bartitsu martial arts will be respected again. After that, he called the reporters on duty to cover the fight between Yuen and Peyton. News of the battle spread throughout the country, and many people flocked to the battle arena to witness it in person, including Yuen's master. Before Yuen competed, Ah Feng handed a towel to his friend to wipe his sweat, which was dripping from nervousness. The match between a Wing Chun martial artist against a Bartitsu martial arts expert begins. In the beginning, Yuen was able to dominate the fight with his extremely formidable martial skills, but then, he looked unwell and repeatedly got fatal attacks from Peyton. Unbeknownst to him, Ah Feng turned out to have smeared the towel with poison, making it difficult for him to concentrate and attack, until in the end Peyton managed to knock him out. Ah Feng then asked Yuen to just give up. However, Yuen knew that the towel that Ah Feng had given him earlier was covered in poison, so he was even more unyielding and continued to fight until the last drop of blood. Meanwhile, Shirake's men stormed Ah Feng's residence, beat up the people who were there, and then set the place on fire. Returning to the fight, Yuen then remembered his goal of fighting to save Xiu Chan. He was then reminded of the new technique the teacher taught him a while ago. He got up and fought Peyton with a new Wing Chun technique by concentrating all his remaining strength. In the end, he succeeded in overthrowing the British martial arts expert Bartitsu and maintaining the glory of Chinese martial arts. Knowing that Shirake must have other plans to kill Yuen, Ah Feng then looked around and saw a man who was about to shoot Yuen from a distance. Without thinking, he immediately went up to the battlefield and saved Yuen, even though he was shot. Then Ah Feng and Yuen fell unconscious. Yuen was rescued by his teacher and taken to the hospital while Shirake's men were still trying to kill Yuen. With the help of the teacher and his friends, Yuen managed to escape from the pursuit of Shirake's men. On the other hand, Shirake manages to catch Ah Feng. After that, he hangs him and Xiu Chan. The next day, knowing that his friend was in danger, Yuen then went to Shirake's residence and defeated all his men alone. Yuen fought back against Ba Dun and Peyton at the same time, but was able to defeat them all at once. Yuen finally met Shirake in his room. Even though Shirake pointed a gun at him, he could defeat him without having to struggle. Not long after, the police arrived at Shirake's residence and immediately arrested him and his men, and released the prisoners. After that, the Chinese people demonstrated and demanded justice from the British government. The film ends by showing off Feng and the family's inauguration of his rickshaw rental business and his new house, which was renovated after a fire. The moral message of this film is that you should not use your power to oppress the weak and do not hesitate to uphold justice anytime and anywhere.